City State TV. I'm Executive Editor Michael Johnson. Today we're joined by three people who have experience with the Coro New York Leadership Center. Joining me is Scott Millstein, the Executive Director, Councilwoman Helen Rosenthal, Councilman Menchaca. The reason we brought you guys in today was to talk about Coro. It's an institute that's been around for 30 years now. You guys are celebrating a 30th anniversary. And I just want to let Scott talk a little bit about what Coro is and how it's kind of impacted state government.
Sure. Well, Coro is a leadership training organization for people who want to learn how New York City works so they can make it better. And in this, our 30th year, we are celebrating not just 30 years of being here in New York City, but really we're celebrating the fact that we have now over 2,200 alumni of our leadership programs. And Coro and our alumni become the city's executive directors and city council members and activists and entrepreneurs. I really believe that Coro is one of the most diverse and influential leadership communities here in the city.
And what struck me is, as I look through the list of kind of your alum, you see people in every outlet of government. Obviously you guys are elected officials, you guys are out there and everyone sees you, but there's executive directors in the Department of Finance and the Department of Education. You have plenty of people, a lot of nonprofits as well that you guys work closely with. Have you guys seen, as you've kind of been freshmen members of the city council, like a way to kind of connect with some people that through this Coro network, and how that's kind of helped you guys do your job?
I mean, for me, it's made all the difference. You're coming in as a freshman council member and getting to know the different actors in government, all the different agencies. And when there's somebody who you've gone through the Coro experience with, or just even says, oh yeah, I'm a Coro alum, that's a sort of instant bond, an instant connection where you can trust this person, that it's probably somebody who is really thoughtful, cares a lot about government, is working extra hard to make an impact, has been willing to go through either the mid-career program or the fellows program. So I found it really helpful.
I think that's right. There's a family here. And when I think about New York City and the complicated questions that we're faced, not just in the city council, but on the ground, in communities, grassroots movements, all these multi-sectors come together in a way like never before. These alums are having conversations cross sectors, from labor, from media, on the ground, and education issues with teachers, and it really takes an opportunity, or we take the opportunity as alum to make that step, connect information, and be thoughtful, and have a space to do it too. That's the other thing, is that when we're having conversations, Coro is a different space. It's a safe space.
Interesting. It's funny because I've covered politics for more than a decade, and I've always talked to incoming freshman lawmakers, whether the city council, whether in the assembly and the Senate, and it seems to me that they always struggle to figure out the people to contact in different agencies to get things done. Has this been an easier process? Do you really just depend on people who are from the Coro network to help you figure out stuff, or at least find a person that you need to talk to get something done?
It's definitely one place to go. Yeah. And as I say, what helps about it is that you just know if it's a Coro person, the product you're getting. It's going to be somebody who thinks hard and cares a lot about government. And because we have the Coro connection, we'll more likely than not be a straight shooter. When you come in as a first-time council member, I'm in my 15th month, not that I know anything yet, but certainly in my first year, there was this sort of dance with people. Are they, with the agency people, are they going to be honest with me? Are they just going to tell me what they think I want to hear? Compared to someone who will say, oh yeah, here's what's really going on, and here's where we need your help, which is all that matters. It takes away that whole initial dance.
And I would just add something, the network in that bond is not just sort of solely because of a shared experience, although that is, I think, part of it. But we at Coro really intentionally try to build and cultivate that network, because the people who come to Coro and the people we recruit for our programs and the people we want to be part of our community are, as the council member said, those that have vision, passion, those that know how to get something done. And at Coro, we give our participants three things. We give them leadership skills to make change, a knowledge about how the city really works, and a network to help them make things happen. The people who come to Coro have big ideas. They want to make something, and they are tackling tough, complex, interconnected challenges in the city. And we believe, and this is something, a core training principle, is that the kind of change, the hard change that involves changing systems and beliefs and people and structures, you can't do that by yourself. Then the more effective, the better network you have, and the more effective you are in using that network and bringing your skills and appreciating the skills of others, the more effective change you'll make in the end.
And it goes both ways. So one of the ways that I continue to participate with Coro is every year, every couple of years, I'll go in and give the budget overview session for the fellows, I think. And what's been so nice about that is that as those fellows enter government, they find me, and I can be a resource for them. And that's just a terrific corollary.
And just to quickly clear, because like the fellows program is what Carlos went through. You went through the leadership training program. Can you just explain the difference between those two and how you kind of target different people from different age groups?
Sure. Yeah, Coro actually runs 8 different leadership programs. We have 3 for high school students and 5 for adults. And of the 5 adult programs, there's the fellows program, which Carlos is an alum of young professionals. Leadership New York is for more mid-career professionals from the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. We have a leadership program for educators from district and charter schools. We have a leadership program for leaders in our city's immigrant communities, and the final program is a leadership program for those working in the business improvement districts and local development corporations doing commercial revitalization work here in the city.
That's great. Carlos, and from that fellows program, obviously, like you came in and you're one of the youngest members of the council. Did that like help catapult your career, or do you see the clear correlation of how that maybe helped you get into where you are in your career? And obviously, you ran against a sitting council member. You kind of have a little bit of an upstart, history to you as well. Was that part of it? Did you feel like you had the I guess, confidence to run that kind of campaign because of kind of what happened with the Coro education?
I did Coro over 10 years ago, and I think the effect of Coro and the Fellows Program was long in the making. And so first, it gave me that first kind of foundation to understand government, where I wanted to place myself. One of my placements became a job where I was there for 5 years at the Borough President's Office. That would have never happened if it wasn't for Coro. Coro gave me the skills to think about where I wanted to place myself in this big kind of question about pressure points to make something happen. We are big change agents in Coro. So it gave me a chance to think about it. When that opportunity came, and that was right after Sandy, thinking about it, I came to Coro for volunteers. So a lot of my Coro friends were back in my life on the ground volunteering during Sandy. I activated them again when I started the campaign and launched them. And so Coro has just always been a part of it. I wouldn't call it a catapult. It's a part of the DNA of how I think about where I want to go in the future. And whatever I do next, Coro is going to be there, no matter what.
And interesting, and we were talking before this with Helen, and you're saying that your experience is vastly different. You were a stay-at-home mom and wanted to get back into government, and this helped kind of launch that part of your career, this new part of your career.
Absolutely. So I had a pretty full career before I had kids, and then I had an opportunity to stay home with them, and which was amazing. But I also became something of a community volunteer. I was on the community board. I was on a national board of NARAL. But what Coro did by being accepted into their leadership program was it gave me the opportunity to network in the city, to sort of rekindle all those relationships, and gave me the opportunity to really study a couple of sectors in government that I had never thought about before. So it made me a better candidate for city council because I knew about parts of government I wouldn't have known about. It also made me a better candidate for the same reason that Carlos mentioned. just this huge network of people who, because it's a shared experience, really know who you are, what your values are, and want to help.
That's great. Before we let you guys go, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the leadership program, the Leadership in New York program that you guys are now are going to be accepting applications for. Tell us a little bit about how people who may be interested in this would get involved and be able to apply.
Sure. So we are going to be soon recruiting for our Leadership in New York program. It's the program that Councilman Rosenthal completed. It is for mid-career professionals who have at least 7-8 years of professional experience, sort of at a point in their career where they have some type of significant professional accomplishment and ready to take the next step. It's a competitive program. We'll take about 50 applicants split between public, private, and nonprofit sector. A big part of the learning is sort of to understand and appreciate the different sectors and how they all can work together, the strengths of each, and I think it definitely builds participants' kind of sector competency. It's a 9-month program. It'll start in September of this year. And anyone who might be interested in the program can find out more information on our website, which is www.coronewyork.org. We ask just 2 questions for anyone who might be thinking about applying. We have 2 questions that we ask on our application. What is the change that you are trying to make in New York City, and how can Coro help you achieve your goals? And so if you have a vision and passion and want to get something done, and think that that the Coro kind of leadership skills and the Coro knowledge about how the city really works and this network that we've talked so much about can really help you, then you're going to be a great person for the Coro community.
Great. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but what was your change that you wanted to make when you did your application?
Yeah, I was just thinking, first of all, it was a number of years ago. And secondly, I was thinking I'd never get in. But I think it really, for me, coming from a budget background, having worked in the budget office for the city, the change I wanted to make has actually been a consistent theme for me, which is how do we run the city more efficiently and effectively? And I'm sure I talked about that on my application, although there are cobwebs in there at this point.
We'll see if Scott can pull it up for us,
Oh,
and
dear.
we can take a look at it. Councilman Menchaca, Councilwoman Rosenthal, Scott, thank you very much, guys, for joining us. And if we'll put up the website on our web post so people can find out more information if they want to apply. Thanks again.
Thank you.